Okay, all right, we're recording. Hey, you guys, welcome to our first ever exclusive Gold and Above Leaders Call. We are so excited about this. This is all very new, so this may change. This may look different in a couple of months as we're kind of working through and figuring out what you guys need, what we're hearing from the field, how we can help, how we can serve. But for right now, we are so excited because we are going to be doing the first Thursday of every month, a Gold and Above Developing Leaders series. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on scenarios. We're going to have an end of like a Q&A at the very end. So it's going to be really fulfilling. Somebody's on here smiling. Who are you smiling at, Jordan? Oh, Taylor and them together.
They just met for the first time and they're both, I'm sorry. I'm so excited.
We're going to the hot tub to drink our margs, but we're here, we're watching.
Yay. So that is another part of why we're excited about this is Jordan, Joanne, and I are best friends, and we connected when we were senior golds, and having that power partnership with one another, but also having that friendship with y'all. Like y'all's team feels to me like kind of like my team in a way. And so we want you guys to be able to take a look here at the names that are on this screen right now, and maybe try to connect with some of these ladies to have some sideline partnerships. We are so excited in what this is going to look like. But first and foremost, I want to congratulate you. Going gold or being gold and above is a huge accomplishment. I can't remember what the percentage is because I know that silver is like 10%. Only 10% of people go silver. So I know that gold is even less than that. And I remember that step from silver to gold felt like eternity. And I remember Tamara Holloway would always tell me that in between those two times, in between silver and gold, she said she wanted to quit about 25 times because it was such a hard march. Now, I know there's some of you that just hit gold for the very first time in February. There's some of you who are senior ruby with your eyes on emerald, Callie Beal, for this month. We have a whole group of people in this section here and what we're doing here, and y'all are our leaders. You are leaders within Plexus, and we want to equip you, and we know that one of the number one questions is, how do I develop people? And so that's what we're going to be focusing on tonight. I am not a techie person at all, but I tried to put together a little PowerPoint. So we're going to walk you through that. The two greatest things, Genevieve Scory, when we were at training, she said the two greatest questions within network marketing is, how do I duplicate and how do I retain my people? So maybe retention will be something that we talk about in the future, but tonight, we're all about duplication. So hold on to your, whatever you want to hold on to. I'm going to try to share my screen. And you guys, there are a few misspellings, and I'm so sorry about that. Okay, can you guys see this all right? Jordan and Brittany Albers, I see you. Okay, all right. So tonight, we are starting with a great quote by our man, John Maxwell. Everybody listen up. He says, what gives an organization the best chance for sustaining growth and success? Developing and training people. Only by helping your people reach their potential will your organization reach its potential. And I love that about Plexus. And I love that about our three teams, because we are so people focused, we are so others focused, and that's so fulfilling, but that also is a huge key to that growth and success. So Jordan and I are on a diamond page, and this is actually where this whole vision stemmed from. There's a diamond who asked this question, and I'm going to read it out loud to you all. She asked this question in the diamond page, and it was mind-blowing, the responses. She said, on the development of leaders underneath you and their ability to rank up, how much of it would you say is their own personal determination and mindset? And how much would you say has to do with you developing and pouring into them? I want to stop right there. because I know, and I can't see everybody. I know you guys can't see everybody either, so this isn't going to work for us to do hands up. But I know that probably 98% of you have asked the question or have in your mind thought, I don't know how to develop leaders. I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I have a system. I don't know. Like, I look at Jordan and she's developing 14 silvers and I can't even get somebody to post a first post. Like, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. And so I want you guys to see this, and I want you to see some of the responses here. And I want you to find freedom in this, because yes, it is our job as leaders to encourage and to support and to give resources and to help. But ultimately, it is up to the other person. And so I hope that you guys find freedom in this. Jordan, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I would love to hear if anybody wants to unmute and tell me how you guys would answer that question.
So
How much, like 1 out of 100, if you had to put a percent to it, what percent do you think this is somebody that's gonna, like, is their own effort versus what percent do you think it's them, or you developing them?
80-20.
Anybody else want to take a stab at it?
75-25.
75 them, right? 25 you pouring into them. Yeah, 90-10. Yeah.
80-20.
Yes.
Okay, well, let me show you what diamonds who have found success and have helped with leadership in some sort of way, obviously. Let's see what they've said. When I look at my jewels and top leaders, every single one of them was intrinsically motivated. They don't need training or motivation from me. They just need to know I see and value them, that I am beside them in the valleys and celebrating them on the mountaintops. Next said 90% them, 10% the leader. The next one said, I didn't know anyone when I started and learned everything I needed to know through YouTube. The challenges have made Diamond all the more special. Look at that grit. She didn't have an upline who was helping her, and she just trained herself because she had that belief and she had that determination. Oh gosh, okay, now I can't see what that says up top. Well, basically she's saying for sure it's them and their determination and mindset from what I've seen, but obviously pouring into the team is important. Now listen to this, all of you who know a little bit about Enneagram, and let this start your wheels a-turning. She said, I think honestly, and this is a top leader within the company. She said, honestly, I think it depends on the team member's personality and Enneagram number. 3s are gonna do it no matter what, to whereas a 7 will need social and community more, etc. So many have done it without any upline support. I'd say 75% own personal determination and 25% upline pouring into them. The next one says, I'm a 3 and I was going to be Diamond, period, end of story. My sponsor is the best encouragement in the world, and she just kept telling me, you can do it. I feel like that's what I needed. Are you guys hearing this? Like, it's all about like pouring belief, and it's also super freeing. I hope this is freeing for every single one of you on here. For sure it is them, but I do know that I have a lot of power and encouragement, and that is a gifting. But, and hear this, I really only pour energy like that into people who will take what I tell them and do something with it. I don't waste time on people who aren't going to see that they have the power to change their own circumstances. Like a track coach, I can show them how to run, how to jump over the hurdles, when to pace, when to sprint. But when the gun sounds, I cannot run for them. 25% leader, 75% them. And the last one says, I really believe in the 80-20 rule. We can love on people and develop them in a scalable way through power hours, trainings, but to pour one-on-one, they need to be moving with some speed and intentionality. I have seen so many sleepers come alive when the leaders step away and let them jump and grow their wings on the way down. I want to hear from some of you. Like, does that give you freedom? When I read that, it was like, okay, so many times in the 4 years that I've been doing this, I would say, probably even to Jordan and Joanna, Tamara did not spoon feed me. I went and learned. She kind of told me like, do this, and do this. These are the 3 things you need to do. Here are a few videos, but she poured belief into me. And I just went, and I remember feeling like, oh gosh, what am I doing wrong? I can't get these people to want to go and do this. And that has given me so much freedom. We have a big role as leaders by loving on people and building their belief and giving them their resources. But here's the thing, that's not entirely up on you. Like, you've got Jordan and me and Joanna, you've got YouTube, you've got the virtual office, you have all of the resources. So take a breath, right? Does that encourage anybody else? I can only see Abby, Jordan, and Rhonda. So I don't know if anybody's pumped right now. Abby gives me a thumbs up, so that's good.
Emily, I was going to tell you, the feeling of having leaders under you that are excited, that don't need you to hold their hand, they simply need you to be their person, is the most freeing feeling. I remember, y'all, I'm a 3, and I used to feel so much shame around taking a vacation or not showing up for my team that day. And I remember the first time we went to Hawaii, I was like, oh my gosh. And I just remember Emily being like, Jordan, you can put your phone down because you have leaders on your team that don't need you all week. And I was like, okay. And I just remember that freeing feeling. And I remember Chandler and all these girls stepping up, and my business worked and I wasn't present. And it was the most freeing, beautiful feeling. And I just felt confident when I got back that all I had to do was just step back into IPA. It was okay.
So good. Okay, I'm going to read you guys. If you have not started to read this, it's John Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership. It's hearty and it's meaty. And Tamara actually told me to not have my leaders read it until they were like at Jewel level, because it is so meaty. But there are so many great takeaways in here. And so I'm going to read a little snippet of here that, again, I hope will give you some freedom and some excitement. Okay. He says, John Maxwell again, he says, as you develop people and they begin to share the load of leadership, it's important for you to give them the right expectations. Let them know that you're responsible to them, but not for them. Let me repeat that. You're responsible to them, but not for them. By that, I mean you will take responsibility for providing training, supplying tools, offering opportunities, and creating an environment conducive for their development. They must take responsibility for their growth through their choices, attitude, and commitment. If they don't, you will pay for their failure along with them. But, big but here, but that is a risk worth taking, because the upside advantages, if they succeed, are so great. And when it does work, and people seize the opportunity to grow and lead, it's fantastic. And so I hope that you take away from this that you have a responsibility to them, but not for them. I hope you also take away that, yes, you are going to have people that you are like, oh my gosh, she has 16,000 Instagram followers. Her pictures are beautiful. She has the most incredible story. She's going to be amazing. She's going to be incredible. And she may not be incredible. And you might have poured all of your heart and effort into that relationship, and that might break your heart. But if you didn't, you would not be where you are now as a leader, ready to pour into the next person, because that next person might be the person that is committed, that is driven, that is coachable, and that is ready to go all the way with you. So that risk is absolutely worth taking. All right, Jordan, you want to take away, unless anybody has any questions or any thoughts? Again, I can't see anybody, so just unmute yourself if you do.
Hey, Emily, I have a question. I'm driving, sorry, so I don't have my video on. Are these the people, do you do this with every person who enrolls? I feel like there's a fine balance that I like keep going back and forth between, as far as someone enrolling, like really pouring belief into them and like trying to get them to add 1 or 2 or 3, and then it almost being like too much for them and they are like not attracted to that. Or do you just kind of like let it more organically happen? But then I feel like if people get so far along in the process, then there's like less urgency to create that. So do you have the same pouring into every single person, or just the people who have maybe shown initiative and added a couple people, or like who do you do this with?
Well, I'm not Emily, but I think what we're about to talk about is going to answer exactly that. So
Perfect.
what we did was we took 4 situations that we all go through, 4 different scenarios that we all eventually hit, right? These 4. It's the person, and these are all new people, right? They sign up and they say they want success, but they don't do anything. Or they are hesitant, but they're willing to post. And then you may have some people who sign up and they dive in and they do really, really well, but they burn out quickly. They could burn out in a month. They could burn out in 3 months, 6 months, but they burn out nonetheless. Or the people that are coachable, driven, and ready. Okay, so we're going to kind of talk through each of these situations, and some of this is just based on our own experience. Some of this are the millions of podcasts that we listen to in order to prep for this call, and so it's kind of we've combined it all. All right, you want to go to the next one?
Didn't talk, Taryn, and here we didn't talk necessarily about the onboarding process and like how to present after you've signed somebody, like how to present a referral bonus, which I think is also a little bit of what you're talking about, and that might come later. But these are 4 situations that we have seen, like you've talked about the referral bonus and they've shown some interest.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the next one for me? Okay, so the first thing when we were talking about this, we were like, okay, we can't go into steps unless we know the base is there. And so the base starts, those little drips of belief, those little drips of this vision, the drips of you telling them what they're capable of, that starts when you sign them up. And so I just kind of wanted to share what I do, and Emily and Joanna, you can kind of piece in if something you do is a little different. But y'all, when I'm enrolling someone over the phone, I always ask the question, do you want to share as you go? Okay. And then when I sign them up over the phone, as soon as I get off the phone, like as soon as we get done with the sign up process, I have them click onto their virtual office, and then I have them go look at their perks so that they can see why consistency is so important, and they can see where that is. So when I send them a graphic in 30 days that says, hey, you have a free product sitting in your account, they know exactly where to go. So I show them where their perks are, and then I even explain like what their PV is. And I mention, hey, if you have too much product at any time, tell me, and we will move your subscription so you don't lose those perks. And so I make sure, and so I'm building this vision of, it's not just a 1 month thing, right? I'm building a vision of a good 30, 60-day process here. And then I actually, I mentioned the samples. And so Katie Burns is really, really good at this, at the app. And so she's teaching me this. So I mentioned those samples and say, hey, by the way, you have 3 samples. Do you have anybody in your life that you want to send those to? And they usually like, well, I mean, I could send it to my mom. And I say, okay, well, what does your mom struggle with? And then when she tells me it's diabetes or whatever it is, I say, okay, let's go to our product page. Let me show you how to use that really fast. And so I add them to our product page, our Gut Health and Happiness. You all have your stories and supplements and Trust Your Gut. I add them to that page and I show her how to use the search bar. And I say, hey, search diabetes real quick. And then she sees everything that comes up. And then I was like, well, let's tag your mom in one of those. And so then she now knows the system. She now knows how easy this business really is, that add tag message, okay? So that's the first thing I do, is I set the base. They have a vision. They know how to work this business. And then I ask them if they want to share as they go. They usually ask, what does that mean? I say, okay, well, like right now, I think it's like a $300 bonus for getting 3 people. And they're like, well, I'm not into that right now. That's fine. We go to customer care. I'm going to get you living your product so much to where you want to share about them. So then okay, yeah, I think that's all I've got for that, Emily. All right, so the very first person, the first scenario is they say they want success, but they don't do anything. Okay, so somebody signed up. Yes, I want to share as I go. Yes, I would like to get my products paid for, but they don't do anything. Okay, so the first thing I do is you can help them create a post. If somebody's not doing something, usually there's a fear or belief issue behind it, or something is going on at home that is just taking over their life truly. Death in the family, somebody's kid is sick, right? So like knowing those two scenarios, I'm asking those questions. So you can help them create a first post and give them a deadline. Hey, let's post Thursday night by 8. And if they don't do it, that's when you can ask the question, hey, are you nervous about posting? Tell me how you're feeling. Did I scare you? Can I help you with some verbiage? And so that's when you can like really dig deep with some really good questions. And if they haven't done the action, so for example, an event, okay, say you schedule an event for them and they don't add anyone to it, or they haven't posted about it. You don't shame, okay? We don't say, girl, you should have, or why aren't you? Hey, maybe I didn't give you all the information that you needed to feel comfortable to do this event. Maybe you and I can get on a 30-minute call and I can walk you through this event, or whatever that is. Okay, so we're taking the shame out of it and we're walking them through step by step, baby steps, little tiny pieces, asking really good questions along the way. And if they still haven't done anything, you guys, I get this all the time. They still haven't moved, still haven't done anything, haven't gotten into action, go into customer care mode. I feel like I'm throwing Chandler's name out a lot, but I just remember with Chandler, there were many 2-hour conversations about sharing, and she wasn't ready. So we talked about products. We talked about how she was feeling. We talked about that vision for her health. And I just kept dripping in. Okay, well, when you're ready, you let me know. Or when you're ready to get to Hawaii, you let me know. I know you can do this, right? So just little drips of belief along the way. All right, next one. They're hesitant, but willing to do a post or an event. I feel like I touched on this a little bit on the last one, but they really, y'all, every situation is going to be different. This isn't cut and dry, but these are just some questions to ask. Yes, Chandler, yes, you did. Okay, so same deal, right? You've gone through your checklist as a sign up. You've helped them create a first post, maybe an event. You've given them a deadline. And kind of like what I said earlier, if they're not hitting those deadlines, they're not hitting those actions, y'all, there's a fear behind it. Also, what I have found, if somebody tells me, well, I'm hesitant, but I'll do it, but my biggest fear is failing. Guys, the worst thing we can do for somebody whose fear is failure is to hold back on the actions that we know are going to get them where they want to go. That is the worst thing we can do, because if we're doing things halfway, they're only going to get half the results, and that may equal failing for them, right? So I like to just give them the full picture. Okay, we're going to do an event for you. We're going to do a first and second post. I'm going to help you follow up. You're not going to fail. I got you. Trust me. So being really confident, doing little mini power half hours, which is one of my favorite things to do via Zoom, helping them send messages, helping them feel comfortable, helping them do the things. And then recognizing them. You guys, Jen Leith actually has a really great video on recognition that is, it's older, but it's really good. Maybe it's Jessica Heffley. I'll find it and I'll send it. But basically what you guys, we have to celebrate actions, not results. If we are only celebrating results all the time, people are going to feel like a failure when they're not hitting the thing all the time. But if we're celebrating actions, Haven, if Haven's on this call, I've been watching her lately. She's doing, anytime when someone does something out of their comfort zone, she is making this beautiful graphic and she is shouting them out. If somebody adds one, she's shouting them out. If somebody does a live video, she's shouting them out. And you guys, their team is really blowing up right now. And but I think you also have to be aware of the actions, right? You have to be in those one-on-one conversations, asking them the questions, really digging into what they're doing so you can celebrate them. So I think that's everything I have on that, Emily.
I was just going to interrupt on that one because Jordan just shared when we were going through all of this about how she does those mini power hours. And I'll be totally honest, when people tell me that they're hesitant, I don't do that. Like, I don't do the mini power hours because I think I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to scare them away. Like, I want to do slow and steady for them. And so I'll help them with a post or I'll help them with an event. And then I just kind of like back off, which I think seeing what Jordan was saying about how she'll just do like get on the phone with them and then say, hey, did you see that so-and-so responded or made a comment on your post? Okay, so here's what you should say here. And then let's go ahead and send them a quick message. And this is what you can say here. And then, like these are your friends that you've invited to the event. They came. Okay, let's do a follow-up. And this is what I would say to them as a follow-up. Like, I just really liked the way that she was doing that, making it more one-on-one, personalized, rather than just like sitting and hoping well, maybe they like caught the vision and now really want to do the business, which more than likely they won't. So I was an idiot for thinking that. So anyways, that was just really a great pointer that Jordan shared with us as we were going through this.
You are not an idiot, that is for sure.
Talk on the tagging too. I think for people who are hesitant.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I have a rule that I created for myself, and I don't know if this is a Plexus rule, but it's a Jordan rule. I am not allowed to tag someone or send a video that I have not watched myself. And so that is one thing that is really important to me, because how can I go and ask them a question? Hey, what did you think about the way that she talked about posting if I haven't watched it myself? The other thing is the goal, if somebody's not doing something, they're probably a little fearful or overwhelmed. And so tagging them in like 20 things is not going to eliminate overwhelm. It's going to create more. And so I like to just maybe, if I'm going to do anything with a video, I may tag them in one post about how to put me in a three-way message. And then I may send them one video. And then I'm really sure about like going to them and following up from that one video. So eliminate or limit the amount of tagging that you're going to do.
And as you're on the phone with them, you're hearing where their fears are. You're hearing where their hurdles are. And you can say, oh, you know what? You're a little worried. You want to have confidence in the products. I'm going to send you 2 videos that are, 3 minutes long over the Slim and ProBio BioCleanse. I'm going to send those 2 over to you so that can help you. But you're like in communication with them, so you know what they need rather than filling them up. Now they've been added to a team page. They've been added to a testimonial page. They've got stuff that they've just posted. So they've got notifications out of the wazoo that they're not familiar with. So less tagging and more intentional messaging back and forth and sharing, I think, is so important.
Yes. Next one. Okay. They dive in, do really well, but burn out. Okay. Joanna and I are going to tag team this one, but this is just what I'm going to tell you. Okay. Many people do this, whether they start and they add 6 their first month and quit, or they start and they go emerald in 3 months and then they stop. Okay. The issues are the same. And so I just want to encourage you guys on this one before we dive into it is take a breath. If this is you or you're coaching someone in this spot, it is okay to take a step back, to reevaluate the base that you made. I'm trying to think of the word that I came up with earlier. It's never too late to pause and go back to the basics and set a foundation, a really solid foundation, so that you can move forward full of belief, with boundaries, and with joy and excitement to what this is going to create for your family. So this person right here is a lot of more of like emotional stuff. So Joanna, do you want to start on this one?
Okay, so oftentimes it says, their why is not strong enough. Well, a lot of times when someone just dives in and just goes for it, signs up a lot of people their first month, or not even necessarily is gung-ho right away, but they're in this place, they're burnt out, they're doing really well, but they're burnt out. A lot of times their why, it's so important. And that is what kept me going and keeps me going, is my why. And I draw on that and I think, okay, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm sick of talking to people, but why am I even doing this? Or whatever. It's my why. And so it's really, really important to get with them and say, hey, tell me about your why. Or if you already know it, like, hey, remember you told me this XYZ, has your why changed? Or maybe they just need help writing their why because they never wrote it, because they started because they're like, yeah, I would love to make $300. Making $300 isn't a why. Why do you want to make $300? So it can pay that bill, so you don't have a negative bank account, and so you can get your products for free. That would be a why, or not because of how is that going to help your family? Well, I'm going to be less stressed, so I'm going to be a better mom and a wife because I'm not stressed so much. Yep. 7-layer why. Yes. So helping them with their why, it's really, really, really important. Not just saying like, oh, I want to make $500. Well, yeah, everyone likes $500, but why? And then a lot of times too, I think when people get burnt out, it can be their surroundings. So maybe they have a lot of negative people in their life. Maybe their spouse isn't super supportive, their church or whoever in their circle. And so just encouraging them to get with their family and share with them like why this is important to them, why they believe it can help their family in the future, what their why, like share with your family and let them know like why you're even doing this. Then really, I think a lot of it simple, like, is the three, like your why, your belief, which it says third party tools, which is where the belief comes in. Diamond docs are crazy belief building. Like that's what I did in the very beginning, was diamond doc after diamond doc after diamond doc. And when someone sends you a diamond doc that you can relate to, so say I'm like burnt out, I'm like, oh, man, I'm done. This is like the pits. And so my sponsor sends me a diamond doc of Amber Miller, who has the same last name, which is awesome, but she's also the same age as me. She has 3 kids as me, or 3 kids like I do. I can relate a lot to her. And so sending her like, hey, you have to watch this. I know that you really, your why is so powerful, or I know how much this is going to help your family or whatever, like kind of like remind them of their why, and then say, this is going to like, watch this. It reminds me of you. You're going to love it. Sending them a tool, a third-party tool that's going to build that belief, because belief is such a huge pillar. And I always have to be growing my own belief, or like I get discouraged all the time. And what helps me is like watching something that's building my belief, a testimonial, like, oh my goodness, wow, our products really do work. Like that just changed this person's life. And so then I'm more excited to keep sharing. And then I think the last step is really fun too, because if someone has that hands-on, like they're going to feel encouraged, and they're going to feel like they might know the steps to do, but they have someone doing it with them. It just helps you to do it. Because if you're not in action, that's going to make you even more discouraged and burned out feeling. That action is really important, but sometimes it's hard to get into action when you're in that place. And so having that hands-on support of your sponsor, just like doing it with you and like, hey, okay, let's go do reach outs. Here's a great message that I got really good feedback from. And so giving them that, because I mean, I even love that now, like just send me a message that works really good so I can use it. And just being there for them. And also just reminding them too, like, and checking in with them if they're taking rest, and letting them know it's okay. Like a lot of times when people burn out, it can be because they're not resting. It's not taking a break or not working your business. It's just resting. Like we all need rest. I mean, the Lord created us to need rest every week. So making sure that they are taking that time for themselves every week, taking rest from their business. You don't have to be working your business 24/7. And when you do, that can also create that burnout. So
yeah, those boundaries. And I was in Momentum Movement with Brooke Hemingway, and she said, you can rest in momentum. And when you have somebody that starts really, really fast, sometimes it's hard because all they're doing is just like signing. And then they have to like learn how to troubleshoot along the way. And then it's like all the things they're learning at once. And it's like this little mini tornado for like a month, which is totally fine. Right. But then you have to stop and you have to create that base. So anyway, that's that one. And then I feel like the next one is very similar. Because basically you're just doing all the things that you have been doing, but you're doing it for somebody who's not living in scarcity. There's somebody who's living in abundance, somebody who's excited, somebody who's willing to choose growth over Netflix. And so it's just in a different space. They just receive that information differently. But anyway, it's still the same. You're going to limit tagging. You're going to give them very, very tangible resources, message ideas. You can do those one-on-one 30-minute sessions. And then recognizing them. Recognition. I learned this in my sales courses when I was in college. Like Emily, if I use her name to her is the sweetest sound she can hear. So you guys, like, really recognizing people is so important.
You literally cannot recognize someone enough. There's no such thing as too many shout outs. And it really is so encouraging. I mean, I would say Jordan, Emily, we're all coachable driven. Like we're going to do the things no matter what. But when we have that person, our sponsor or upline, giving us that shout out or sending us a $5 coffee card, like, you're amazing. Like, go get yourself a coffee.
Yes. Even today, those gift cards, I'm like,
yeah,
she thought of me today.
And just like, I mean, so they know what to do, but that doesn't mean they don't need your encouragement and your support. Anyway, yeah, that's my little.
I was going to say one thing about the last scenario, or the third scenario, about they dove in, they went really fast, and then they got burned out. And we didn't really touch upon overwhelm, but I mean, a little bit, but like, I think a lot of times too, people might just feel overwhelmed and they might think, okay, I just made like $200, but I was so stressed and so overwhelmed and I got tagged in so many things and I had to do things that I wasn't really comfortable. So again, that's going back to the belief and the buy-in and understanding like where what is driving them to do this and the why, and is it a deep why? But I also really appreciated, we had Cassie Rainey come to our team call on Monday night, and she had talked about how she's had to go back to many people that she had signed or whatever at the beginning of her journey and apologize and ask if she could like do it again. And I think that there is a lot of merit in there, because especially as you're new and you're learning, like you might just be tagging people left and right. And like, you may not really know what you're doing, and that may have overwhelmed people, just the whole process. And so you can go back to those people and you can say, you know what, I've learned a whole lot. And I realized like I tagged you in so many things and I didn't really have a great system. I would really love to run with you and just do a call with you and see if this is something that you would want to consider doing again. And then if they say, yes, I'd like to do it again, take what has all been said here and see that the common denominator is you being intentional and getting them on the phone and doing one-on-one talking through messages. And that might seem overwhelming. Getting on the phone for a lot of people is not something that's fun, the thought of it, but once you do it, it becomes fun because you're building a relationship. Once you do it, you realize that you are helping this person, and it's not near as overwhelming as just like messaging back and forth and waiting for a few hours or a few days for them to respond and not knowing how they're feeling. Get in communication with these people. Does anybody have, again, I can't see the chat. Does anybody have any specific questions about one of these 4 scenarios that you would like us to talk through?
Before questions, I was just going to say Chandler's comment just now about relationship building. If you feel like somebody is running, or even if they're overwhelmed, you guys, connection is everything. People start for their products and they stay for their relationships. So if you were trying to like hoard your people and keep them to yourself and not like overwhelm them by sharing the community with them, I feel like you're doing them a disservice, because these communities are why people stay. It is 50% of why I love Plexus. So anyway, so I wanted to say that.
Abby did have a question earlier on. She asked Jordan, do you walk every single person through the VO and the app?
Yep. It takes me, Emily asked me that question too, because she was like, how much time is that? Usually it's anywhere from a 20-minute to a 30-minute conversation total, and that's it.
Okay, so how do you keep it that short?
I usually just walk them through the sign-up process, and then I take them directly to their perks, ask them if they have any questions, add them to Gut Health, ask if they have any questions, and I tell them to Marco Polo me when their products come in.
So then do you sign people up on your computer, or do they sign up on their computer?
If it's somebody that I feel like is going to be slower, then I will do it for them. But like today, I did it in the car on the way to pick up Kennedy. So I like fit in that little nook and cranny. And so I only had 15 minutes. And so she did it on her end. I'll keep asking, what do you see on your screen? Okay, cool. Let's do this. No, what now? What do you see? Okay, let's do this. All right, any other questions about the 4 scenarios, or any comments or anything that y'all want to share, or that you would like us to answer?
Or things that you've seen that have helped you with one of these situations. Because if you haven't had it oh my goodness, if you have not had it happen yet, it will.
What do y'all say regarding the URL? Like when you're signing someone up, do you tell them anything? If you're signing them up, do you just try their name? Or if they're doing it, what do you suggest?
I don't make a big deal of it. I just say, just try to put in your full name with no spaces. And they don't even ask. And I just say, you're getting a turnkey business that you can take advantage of if you want, and this would be your own personal website. I don't make a big deal of it. And then if it doesn't work, then I tell them they're in their middle initial. Is that what you're asking, Nancy? I'm thinking that's Nancy.
Yeah. I mean, that, and then if you say anything else about it besides just getting it done.
Mm-mm.
I just say like it's your referral. If they ask, I say it's your referral link. So I was like, yeah, just put your first and last name, no spaces, because that's your referral link for referral cash. If anyone does this with.
I'm sorry, I keep talking. I will say on number 3, where they dive in, do well, and then burn out, Kylie Bell had a girl that had that situation happen in December, January-ish, or February, sometime recently. And she, at that point, was like, you know what? She had signed like 6 people in a month. And then she got in touch with Kylie and said, it's too much. I think I've actually found supplements I like better. This is a little overwhelming to me. And Kylie talked through some stuff with this girl and then shared with her that call that Jordan, Joanna, and I did, that overcoming, which was, I think, the beginning of February, maybe, or January. I can't remember when it was. But she shared that recording with this girl. And between the conversation with Kylie and that third-party resource, the girl was like, okay, I'm all in. I'm all in. And she signed 8 people last month and is like eyes on the prize to go diamond. So utilizing third-party tools is also very huge.
Okay, so I have another question, and I don't know which situation they fit into. A gal who she posted, she needs her products paid for. She loves the products. She's not going to stop the products, but she posted, and then like 10 hours later, she took it down. And so we talked through some fear things there, and I don't know how much to push and how much to back off because she can't afford the products. She can't. Any thoughts on that one? And I don't know where she fits in any of those scenarios.
Okay, so anytime somebody's not in action, there's either something going on at home or it's a belief or fear issue. Like I always go back to that. So I think it's just getting back to, what do you want? Like, what do you want out of this? And if somebody really wants to get healthy and they can't afford their products, then I'm here to help you get over that fear. So there's somebody obviously said something to her, and you can ask that. Did somebody say something to you? Because that's actually happened to me before. Like sometimes you just got to be honest and just ask those blunt, bold questions.
Mm-hmm. And also, Jordan had a really good point when we were preparing for this. One of her questions that she asked was, do you trust me? And can I walk you through this? Would you let me walk you through this for 30 days? Like, I know that you are
Can I show you what your first 30 days would look like?
Yeah. And acknowledging that she's got fear, trying to figure out where that fear is coming from. And then asking, will you let me help you with this? Will you let me hold your hand and walk you through this? So that way you can get your products paid for in a beautiful, honorable way that's not salesy or slimy, because I think a lot of people fear that.
And you can bring that up too. Are you afraid of being salesy? Are you afraid of what your best friend's going to say? Like sometimes you just have to ask the questions.
And her answer to that is yes. That's why she pulled it down, because we've talked through a lot of it. And so I just don't know, like she'll say yes, but then it's like yes. And so, yes, but I think that's helpful. So thank you guys.
And that was kind of the point of this call, right? It's like learning when to ask hard questions, and you can't motivate people. And so bless, release, love on, cheer on, check in on, but after that, you can't do anything.
And continue to build belief though. Continue when you see a video of somebody that's just hit a certain rank and her story was so similar to this girl's, where she was so afraid and she was so fearful of what her friends would think, but she's been able to do this, this, and this because she got over that fear. Hey, so-and-so, I saw this and I thought of you immediately. Is this something you'd want to talk through again? Something like that. Jordan, you want to wrap this up for us?
Yes. Okay. So we're going to send you all a podcast. It's one we actually we listened to about 2 weeks ago, and then Callie Beal sent it to me today and said, hey, you need to listen to this. And so it is a really good one. We're going to send it to y'all in our threads. But if someone is in one of those scenarios, you guys, just know you guys are the 10%. You guys are the people that are committed, that you guys are the people that have a vision and that you are going to work to develop leaders. Like, we know that about y'all, right? So know that the 90%, they may not be able to commit to the 5-3-1-1, you know, the sending 5 messages, 3 follow-ups a day, 1 training video, 1, you know, whatever. But they might connect with one person. They might go connect with their mom today. And when they do, dadgummit, you better celebrate the darn out of them. Like, you need to make that a big deal. They might commit to posting once a week. And so I think some of this is just creating some different, not homework, but actions for them they will actually commit to. And when they do those actions, you have to celebrate it, because we want to create a space within all of our teams to where whether you are diamond or you are really, really happy at gold and you want to stay there and you love being a part of this community, we want everyone to feel at home, but just walk with your walkers, run with your runners, and create a space where all of that in between is a-okay, and know when to lead and how to lead each person in each situation. So that's all we got. I hope this was helpful, y'all. We're going to start doing this monthly, change up the same topic, but different content every time, different areas of leadership. And so I hope this is helpful. Thank y'all. Have a good night.